Welcome back to the Sleuth Intuition channel. I'm your host, Patrick Vallejos. We are broadcasting live to the world from Phoenix, Arizona. Today is going to be a very educational segment, especially for those of you who have children between the ages of 8 and 17. This may be an eye-opener. So we're going to be looking at online murder cults, and basically what they are: CSAM cults, sextortion cults. They get your child to produce sensitive material, sexual material, and then they blackmail them. And when they blackmail them, they have them mutilate themselves, self-harm, sometimes take their own lives live on camera, and they'll disseminate those videos. And basically, it's a snuff film, right? To their organizations, the ones that we're going to be focusing on today, and they're all connected. It's like a global cabal. And we did a live stream on the Order of Nine Angles before, but we're going to be talking about them. Another group called the 764 group, and it's named after a zip code in Texas. The person who founded it was only 15 years old at the time. And then also the Maniac Murder Cult, and then a couple of offsets. And there's not going to be any real rhyme or reason to today's live stream. I have some articles and some videos, and we'll just kind of talk about the information as it unfolds. But welcome in, everybody. And also shout out to Susie for sending me the information and putting the 764 under the microscope for me. So I appreciate that information. And let's just say I went down quite the rabbit hole, and I didn't think anything could shock me, but guys, this is shocking. We have so many unsolved murders out there. We try to do our best to find out what the motivation could be. Missing people, strange murders, young children that are taking their own lives. We don't understand how this could happen. I think that these groups could be behind a lot of this. You know, this could be the explanation for a lot of things. And I can't help but think of the 764 group out of Texas and what Kagan Klein had to say about his friend in Texas. Remember, he said a friend in Texas told him that he was all over the news. Who the hell does he know in Texas? What's up, Sparky? Susan, how are you? Mustang, good to see you. All right, let me pull up some of the information that I have bookmarked here. I think we'll start there. Maybe a little bit long-winded. Jerry, good to see you. There you are, Susie. Danny B. Julia, ¿qué pasa? ¿Qué pasó? All right, bear with me here. There it is. Okay. So this article is from the Office of Public Affairs. Here, let me share this with you guys if you want to read along. Then you'd have to look at my mug. Okay, so a lot of these are real far-right extremists. And it's strange. I'm noticing on all their websites, they actually were supporting the Biden-Harris campaign. And I'll show you that when we pull up the Order of Nine Angles web page. And I'm not shocked. I wasn't surprised at all. I think you guys are starting to figure out what's really going on around here. So this article is titled Four Members of Online Neo-Nazi Group That Exploited Minors Charged with Producing Child Sexual Abuse Material. Oh, wait a minute. I didn't know they had the indictment right here. I was looking for this all day, and there it is. All right, perfect. Here, we'll look at the affidavit. So they titled this Child Exploitation Enterprise. What's going on, CJK? Blind Squirrel. Yeah, I was looking for it, and there it is on the first article that I had bookmarked. I spent hours looking for this. So this is wonderful. Okay, now this is shocking, guys. Viewer discretion is advised. Defendants Rowan, Sandy, and remember, some of these folks are from France. They're illegal migrants. So ICE was involved as well. FBI, ICE. I mean, this is a global group here, and they're connected to multiple online cults. And those were the three main ones: Order of Nine Angles, 764, and the Maniac Murder Cult. But there's a few more, actually. All right. Defendants Rowan Sandy Brain, also known as Rogod. So if you guys are looking to do your own research, these were their online personas. Rogod, aka Trad Lord, aka Witch King. Right? And they're all satanic groups. They're all just pure evil. Everything is about mayhem, torture, destruction. They think that's the only way to free humanity from God's tyrannical rule or man's illusion of God. And then we have Colin John Thomas Walker, aka Wrath, aka Civilian, spelled CVLLIN, all capitals, aka O9A.Wrath. And we all know what O9A is, right? That's short for the Order of Nine Angles. It's a far-right satanic group. Bunch of neo-Nazis, aka Goblins, aka Sad Boy, aka Made These Nuts, or just Walker. Now, this is somebody that we've touched on in the past. His name was Caleb Christopher Merritt. We talked about him on our online Predator live stream about a year ago, but we didn't really get into it. He was just kind of a small piece of a larger story. But now he's one of the biggest pieces of today's story because he was just, this is very recent. Let me see if they have the dates up here. January 17th. So less than a month ago. Also, AKA the Chariot, AKA Sociopath. So, I mean, he's not even trying to hide it. Or just Merritt. And then also Clinton Jordan Lapaka Nahuakeka Borgi, AKA Whoops, AKA Jordan, or Borg. Were members of an internet-based group known as CVLT. CVLT, the purpose of which was, among other things, the production of enticement. So I believe CVLT is another name for the Maniac Murder Cult. Enticement to produce, advertise, of receipt of, distribution of, possession of, and access with intent to view child pornography. Now, these groups, they they go onto the dark web and they put hit outs on people who are no longer obeying them, people who have gone to the police and are threatening to turn them in. They will go onto the dark web and put a hit out on these people for as little as $3,000. And some of these orders have been fulfilled and people have been murdered. So when we look at cases like the Delphi murders and we're like, what the hell? How, like, what's the motivation for this? And how is Keegan Kline tied into all this? I feel like he could very well be part of these groups. I mean, it's the same MO, really. Where was I? An access with intent to view child pornography and defined in Title 18 United States Code Section 2256. The CVLT exploitation enterprise, or CVLT. CVLT operated in Los Angeles, San Bernardino counties, within the Central District of Los Angeles, and elsewhere. CVLT was dedicated to, among other interests, online child sexual exploitation. CVLT members worked collectively to entice and coerce children to self-produce CSAM material on servers associated with and run by CVLT on a platform known as Platform D. So if you guys are looking to do your own research, these are the terms that you should be writing down. Platform D. CVLT members participated in their online child exploitation activities because they wanted to create an army of sadist followers. So you thought we were just dealing with the dark web? No, we're dealing with a enterprise. Multiple cults connected and motivated by the same desires and just pure evil. On these Platform D servers and elsewhere online, CVLT members would seek to groom children for eventual production of child pornography through various means of degradation. This included coercing children to engage in dehumanizing acts, cutting and eating their own hair, or calling themselves CVLT's slaves. Self-harm, carving with razor blades CVLT members' names into their skin. I read yesterday that one victim was blackmailed. So they catfished a young woman, got her to produce sexual material, child porn, just like Keegan Kline. That was his specialty. And then they sextorted her. They said, if you don't do what we tell you, we're going to SWAT you. We're going to kill your family. And we're going to show everybody this video that you made for us. They made her cut swastikas on the entirety of her body. Carving with razor blades CVLT members' names into their skin and exposing children to extremist and violent content. Displaying videos of animals being tortured to death and women being raped. For children who resisted, CVLT members would threaten to SWAT, dox, or distribute the child pornography or the child and their family's personal identifiable information to the public. For children who refused, CVLT would sometimes carry through on their threats. And that's when the dark web comes into play. So you have these guys that are looking for what they want, and then there's mass murderers, serial killers, who are looking for what they want. And what they want is a random target. So who's going to give them the random target? These scumbags. So they're symbiotic. CVLT espoused neo-Nazism, nihilism, pedophilia as its core principles, in addition to others, and exposed children to material depicting and promoting these principles. This included repeated uses of Nazi symbols and language in the distribution of bondage, discipline, sadist, masochistic, BDSM, and gore CSAM. Defendants Rain, Walker, Merritt, and Borge were members of CVLT. Defendant Rain joined CVLT. And remember, these four individuals are in different parts of the world, but joined on this online cult together. Is there defendant Rain joined CVLT at least as early as 2020 and used the usernames Rogod, Tradlord, Witch King, Rowan is the Godad, Road Dog. Defendant Walker joined the CVLT at least as early as 2020. So we went through all of these names. Defendants Rain, Walker, and Merritt additionally acted as leaders and administrators of the CVLT, which kind of, if you look at it, spells cult, but I don't know what it stands for. But that's kind of what it looks like, right? But instead of a U, it's a C or a V. Including by hosting and running CVLT servers or directing others to do so, controlling membership in CVLT, controlling access to the CVLT extortion, video chats, and other materials. See, this is something that's actually going on. These guys are live streaming torture, murder, and who knows what else. And redirecting and instructing victims during the creation of the CVLT extortion videos and other materials. So what was Richard Allen doing on his phone? What was Darren Schillmiller? What was his motivation for catfishing and cyber stalking and convincing somebody in Alaska to kill her own best friend and film it? It's so that they can produce and they gain favoritism in these cults and they up their ranks. They're looking to become leadership in these cults. And I guarantee if you had to sit down with somebody like Keegan Kline and have an honest conversation with him, he would tell you about all of this and how he's involved in it, or at least has knowledge of it. CVLT included other conspirators, both known and unknown to the grand jury in the Central District of California and elsewhere, including but not limited to conspirator RM, a minor male CVLT member using the usernames Goons Angel and Deal with the Devil. Jeez. Conspirator RM, a minor, he's only 13 years old, both a conspirator and minor female victim of CVLT using the username Kalina or minor victim 13. Means and methods of the cult enterprise. And we're going to take a break right there and we're going to catch up on the chat. Thank you, Sparky. Yeah, if you guys could hit the thumbs up, go share this video on your X feed, on your YouTube channel, on Facebook, whatever. What's up, Anna? Some of those names don't sound much like white supremacists. They're not. I don't know. It's weird. They're just kind of like extremist. What's the most extreme thing we can do? What's the furthest point we can take hatred? You know, one of the things that comes to mind is Nazis and what they did to the German Jewish population. You know, they put them in concentration camps. Megadeth. That's what they want. That's what they want to promote. That's what they're promoting. It's just pure evil. What's up, Hiawatha? How you doing? Ennis, the CVLT might be cult. Well, yeah, I mean, I know it's cult, but I don't know what it stands for. I don't know what it is. I don't know what they're referring to. It takes time, Sparky. It doesn't happen overnight. This shit evolves. Hiawatha, when you left that comment, I actually went and looked into it. I think that's the second time you mentioned it. There's not a whole lot online. So if there's anything specific you want to send to me, I would like to talk with you about that. Because if it's something going on here in Phoenix, it might be something I can go actually investigate personally. Okay, let's continue on. Means and methods of the CVLT enterprise or cult enterprise. Among the means and methods by which defendants Rain, Walker, Merritt, and Borge and other cult members conducted and participated in the conduct of the affairs of the cult child exploitation enterprise were the following. Cult members invited children to servers associated with and run by cult on Platform D. So that makes it almost virtually impossible to find them. Who's going to report them? Not the owners of the servers. Once on a such server, cult members would groom the children to participate in self-producing CSAM by, for example, but not limited to, exploiting existing vulnerabilities such as mental health challenges or prior sexual abuse to break down children's willpower and resistance. We did do a live stream on children with autism that were being targeted. You know, kind of reminds you of the Sebastian Rogers case. Alicia Navarro, young kids who are on Discord and then vanish. Degrading children, such as telling a black child to call herself slave and the N word, offering to protect the children from other online predators. Oh, I'll take care of you. You know, kind of like the mafia. Encouraging children to harm themselves and others in order to desensitize them to extreme and violent acts, such as punching themselves, hanging themselves with belts, engaging in sexual or violent acts with their pets, and eventually escalating to killing themselves on a live stream. Exposing children to violent and extremist content such as animals being tortured and crushed to death. Remember crushing? Are you guys seeing how it's all coming together? Just because they bust these people and they don't find the connection to these cults doesn't mean it's not there. Women being raped, BDSM and gore CSAM, and promoting extreme philosophies such as neo-Nazism, nihilism, anarchy, pedophilia, rape, lawlessness. Having degraded and groomed the children, cult members would then knowingly employ, use, persuade, induce, entice, and coerce children to self-produce child pornography and self-harm, just like Kegan Kline. This child pornography sometimes included the use of pets or other children, or insertion of foreign objects like knives or cacti into their genitals. Jesus. For example, on or about September 15th of 2021, conspirator RM and minor victim 13 conspired to produce child pornography of herself, minor victim 13, and the prepubescent child, minor victim 14. Minor victim 13 filmed at least 2 videos depicting child pornography of minor victim 14 and distributed the child porn to conspirator RM. Minor victim 13 was in San Bernardino County within the Central District of Los Angeles at the time. She conspired with conspirator RM to produce CSAM, and at the time she produced and distributed the CSAM. Minor victim 14 was in San Bernardino County within the Central District of California. At the time, minor 13 produced the CSAM of her. Once cult members had obtained the child pornography from child victims, they would often try to coerce the children to produce more, threatening to release the existing CSAM to the child's friends and family or the public if the child did not produce more. Other times, cult members would reveal they knew the child's true identity and location and would threaten to swat or dox the child. Cult members would discuss child sexual exploitation, including encouraging other members to coerce the children to engage in more extreme, violent, and degrading behavior, and also encouraged others associated with cult to do the same. They also discussed the potential of being apprehended and how to evade detection by law enforcement. All right, let's take a quick break there. All right, thank you, Hiawatha. I'd appreciate that. Yeah, Sparky, it gets worse. I mean, they're literally trying to take these kids' souls. I mean, imagine walking in and your child has swastikas carved into their flesh. I mean, these poor kids, they have no clue what they're dealing with. Yeah, absolutely, Anna. It's like a product, right? They're creating a product for a sick customer base, consumer base. Hey, wife Lilith. Yeah, just when you thought things couldn't get any worse, right? Now we're dealing with a global cabal of pedophile cult members. Hey, Cyber Warrior. This account, welcome in. Yeah, and it's not only that they're vulnerable, Hiawatha, they're being blackmailed. You know, they're new to the world. You know, they're going through puberty. They're having feelings, sexual feelings, desires that that's supposed to take time to learn and mature into. But these guys are exploiting their ignorance of the world. And they're doing exactly what Keegan Kline did. Catfishing them, approaching them as like an Emily Ann, another 13-year-old person. And then once they get them right where they want them, boom, look, it's me, Keegan Kline. And if you don't do what I tell you, I'm going to expose you. So people ask, well, how can a 13-year-old take his own life? Like, when did this start happening? Right around the time these folks started to get organized. Is it all starting to make sense? Absolutely. What's going on, Cyber? All right, let's continue on. The grand jury realleges paragraphs 1 through 8 of this indictment here, beginning in at least 2019 and continuing through in about 2022 in Los Angeles and San Bernardino counties. Within the Central District of California and elsewhere, defendants Rain, Walker, Merritt, and Borge, I think one's from Hawaii, one's from France, right? France, there's that word. And others known as unknown to the grand jury, knowingly and willfully engaged in a child exploitation enterprise. That is the commission of a series of felony violations enumerated in Title 18 United States Code. Okay. This is all just jargon right here. Okay. So I think I'm going to read through the rest of that privately. Go ahead and save that so I don't lose it. And let's go to some of these videos here. Yeah, Caleb Merritt, this son of a bitch.
Texas man accused of traveling to Henry County to abduct a 12-year-old girl, still in jail tonight.
This after law enforcement worked for 36 hours to bring her home.
And as 10 News reporter Shane Dwyer has learned, police say...
Look at this guy.
She may not be the only child he's targeted.
After 36 hours on the run, it's in Henderson, North Carolina, an hour north of Raleigh, where police brought a national Amber Alert to an end.
Officers received that information, were in the area within 5 minutes, and was able to locate the vehicle in question.
Captain Chris Ball with the Henderson Police Department says they were called in to help when investigators tracked 21-year-old Caleb Merritt and the 12-year-old Henry County girl he abducted Friday to their area, thanks to electronic devices.
The street level patrol officer was able to locate and apprehend this individual who appears to be perhaps a career individual related to these types of instances based off of his criminal history or the knowledge.
Yeah, he was charged with rape 3 years ago of a minor.
based on that.
He's still in
While we
jail
expect to learn more
when
from
he got
search
these
warrants and
charges.
court hearings in the coming days, new details are coming out about the suspect. Investigators believe Merritt was talking with at least one other Henry County girl and are coordinating with other police departments to see if there are more. They describe him as a serial predator who traveled from Texas to Virginia
What's up,
and
John?
set up camp in the woods behind her home. Although they had multiple contacts via social media prior to the abduction, police say they lacked probable cause to arrest him. The young girl's family tells 10 News she continues to receive medical attention and is recovering. In Henry County, Shane Dwyer, 10 News, working for you.
Texas
Wow.
man accused of traveling.
I think I have a couple more on him. Oh, no, here's one out of Tucson. This is just about 100 miles south of me.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Angelique Lazardi. A major arrest tonight regarding a Tucson man that feds say played a key role in an online terror network and is now accused of making child mutilation videos. News 4 Tucson's chief investigative reporter, Corus Nylander, is with us now from the Tucson Federal Building downtown with the latest details. And we do want to warn you that many details of this story might be disturbing.
Well, these are some very disturbing allegations from the federal government against Baron Martin of Tucson, filed in federal court. It involves child sex abuse, cyber stalking, and allegations of being involved with a terror network online. This is the criminal complaint against 20-year-old Baron Martin after a lengthy FBI investigation. Federal prosecutors are charging him with 3 felonies tied to child mutilation videos and cyber stalking. FBI investigators say Martin went by the online alias Convict and admitted to being part of a group called 764, which it considers a terror network, writing, quote, 764 methodically targets vulnerable underage populations across the United States and the globe by using known online social media communication platforms.
Let's see. Let's read the rest of this. Let's see. 764 is a network of racially or ethnically motivated violent extremists who engage in criminal conduct within the United States and engage with other extremists abroad. The 764 network occult accelerationist goals include social unrest, the downfall of the current world order, including the United States government. Members of 764 work in concert with one another toward a common purpose of destroying civilized society through the corruption and exploitation of youth. The 764 network individually and as a group methodically target vulnerable underage populations across the United States and the globe by using known online social media communication platforms to support the possession, production, and sharing of extreme gore media and CSAM. With vulnerable juvenile population, members of 764 seek to desensitize young people to violence, breaking down societal norms regarding engaging in violence, and normalizing the possession, production, and sharing of explicit CSAM and gore material to corrupt and groom them towards future violence. Individual victims are targeted through the synchronized group chats, as members of 764 will conduct coordinated extortions of teenagers, blackmailing the victims to comply with the demands of the group. These demands vary and include, but are not limited to, self-mutilation, online and in-person sexual acts, harm to animals, sexual exploitation of siblings. Now, that's what happened in the Schillmiller case. He convinced that girl before she committed murder to produce CSAM with her own 9-year-old sister. Sexual exploitation of siblings, acts of random violence, suicide, and murder. Historically, members of 764 systematically target underage females, groom them, extort them as a group, and force them to mutilate themselves or others and either film or photograph such activity, at times while streaming it online for the group. So what was Richard Allen doing with that fucking phone? The group will then commonly edit compilation photographs or videos or their victims, share these photographs or videos on their social media platforms to gain notoriety among members of the group, and spread fear among their victims, all for the purpose of accelerating chaos. under the 764 ideology with an aim towards
to support
that's
the
where it's cut off.
possession, production, and sharing of extreme gore media and child sexual abuse material. Since 2021, investigators say the name Convict has appeared in chat rooms with the group. The FBI
What's up,
says
Jay
Martin
Ray?
admitted to training 764 members on how to extort minor victims and called himself the, quote, catalyst for thousands of extortions. But the allegations get even more disturbing. Investigators say in September 2022, Martin messaged a 13-year-old girl demanding she cut herself and threatened to leak photos if she didn't comply.
All right, let's read this in its entirety. In approximately September 2022, Martin engaged in a direct message conversation. Now, this is right. I mean, this is pretty close to where I live. Tucson is not far. It's like an hour, maybe an hour, 30-minute drive. Martin engaged in a direct message conversation on social media platform Discord with MVI, a victim whom Martin knew was a minor. That must be for minor victim 1. Was 13 years old at the time. Martin turned 18 in June of 2022. During their conversations, Martin requested minor victim 1 to cut for him on numerous occasions and threatened to leak photos of her if she did not comply. Imagine the stress this child must have been feeling. They're just not ready for that kind of stress. Martin instructed MV1 to cut his name in every possible place she could to include her chest, stomach, and thighs. On some occasion, Martin directed minor victim 1 to cut certain designs, phrases into her body to include swastikas, satanic symbols, and the phrase, and I don't know why that's redacted. I wonder why they redacted that. That's weird. Something 12. Martin often instructed minor victim 1 to make the cuts as deep as she could. Minor victim 1 reported that she had complied with Martin's demands several times out of fear and sent photos and videos of these cut signs to him via the internet. At one point in their conversations, Martin advised MV1 that he wanted her to use a knife, and that's probably, I don't know, what is that? And blank yourself with it. Oh, maybe that's the F word. With my name. Murder victim 1 asked Martin if he wanted her to use the handle of the actual knife, and Martin said he wanted her to use the blade. MV1 was reluctant to do so, but Martin told her, oh man, this is making my stomach hurt. Whew. The actual knife, and Martin said he wanted her to use the blade. MV1 was reluctant to do so, but Martin told her she only had to do it one time. Approximately 1 day later, Martin messaged MV1, "You stuck a knife in your blank?" When MV1 replied to Martin, had no proof, Martin sent a 3-second video that appeared to show an unidentifiable female removing a knife from her vagina. And then this is all redacted. Must be very explicit. The word convict was written on the blade of the knife. MV3 responded to this video with stop, delete, ooh, OMG, 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 stop. Martin replied with cope, gonna be there forever. Later in the conversation, Martin told MV1 he might send the video of herself with a knife to another user. It's not even registering in my mind.
Instructing her to cut his name in, quote, every possible place, as well as symbols like swastikas. They say this progressed to threats of violence and blackmail, to him releasing a sexually explicit video of the victim. Many of the details of what he allegedly said are too disturbing to share. The FBI states there was another 13-year-old victim. They say Martin solicited a hit online to kill that victim's grandmother, and that someone agreed to the hit for $3,000. Martin sent over the grandmother's address. The FBI says there was yet a third victim, a 16-year-old. Martin demanded that victim film themselves cutting their body with a knife and pouring alcohol on the wounds.
All right, let's go through this information here. Oh, okay. See, they didn't go through this part. Kidnapped or shot. I think they might talk about that a little bit later. I'll read it when it comes up. Let's see. Count 3. September 2022. Martin sent a direct message to minor victim 3, a minor victim who he had reason to know was under the age of 18. Minor victim 3 was 16 years of age. During their conversation in September of 2022, Martin told minor victim 3 he angered minor victim 3's boyfriend, which caused minor victim 3 to express anxiety and plead with Martin to tell her what was going on in response. Martin directed MV3 to cut for him. When minor victim 3 told Martin she did not have access to blades because she was at a family member's house to get clean from cutting, Martin told MV3 to break some glass off. Jesus. So unless you want your life ruined, hurry up. I'll help you when you're useful to me. Figure out a way to draw some, I think, effing blood. Martin ultimately told minor victim 3 to scratch herself with your nails and to draw blood. MV3 then appeared to comply with Martin's threats as she told him that she had ripped skin and that it burned. MV3 appeared to have sent an image to Martin because Martin told MV3 to scratch harder because I want it dripping. When MV3 told Martin it was burning, Martin told MV3 to pour rubbing alcohol over it. I mean, that's torture. That's painful. MV3 messaged Martin that she did not know if she could record it because she was shaking too much. Martin then said, just pour it over your scratches. Other arm, the camera lagged. Jeez.
This case still being investigated by the FBI, but eventually will be handled inside the courtroom here.
Yeah, the FBI. I don't trust them as far as I can throw them. I think they're the biggest enablers out there. Anna, that's human abuse. I agree. Yeah, and I just block them. I get tagged by trolls all day long. Hey, if that's how they want to spend their time, if they like me that much, it's kind of flattering. You know, my time is valuable. I'd rather spend it with you guys, trying to learn something. If they want to spend it thinking about me, by all means, do your thing, buddy. Yeah, Susie, I had to take a break and just go to sleep. I couldn't believe some of the stuff I was reading. Well, the thing is, Anna, a lot of parents, I don't think they know that this happens. I mean, I didn't even know this was going on before I started covering true crime. I knew about a little bit about the dark web and a little bit about sextortion just because of some of the things that I have seen. But I didn't know that it was so rampant. I mean, this is extremely disturbing. Blind, what up? I just watched a true crime video last night about Charlene Masterson, an 18-year-old teen from Dublin, Ireland, whose case blew my mind. She was catfished by her father for over 7 years. Yikes. That's crazy. That's disgusting. So you can't even trust your own father? Okay, we're going to transition back over here to some of these articles that I have. Thank you, Sparky. Let me share this with you guys. Okay, neo-Nazi group accused of blackmailing children into making sadistic pornography. No, Miranda, we just did like a bunch of Valentine stuff, flowers, gifts. Nothing special. I just cleaned the house for my wife and took her to lunch. That's why I couldn't do the members only live stream. We got stuck behind some accident that happened and we got stuck in traffic. So there was an accident and construction. So we were stuck there for a good 30 minutes. Hey, Jeff H. I've heard of clickbait, but you're telling me you got issues with troll bait. I don't know what it is. I mean, I don't understand. Like, how do you get pleasure by going into a live stream and doing a bunch of weird stuff? Maybe they're involved in this shit. You know, maybe they're involved in this dark web sextortion ring. Good to see you, Jeff. Hey, Lynn, how you doing? They'll just find a new one, Lynn. I mean, they have their own servers and everything. And when it came to Darren Schillmiller, he was just using a dating app. They learn how to use coded word, coded language, embedded links. Like, it's crazy. Lola says, today's boogeyman isn't in white vans looking for kids playing outside. They are on the internet watching for kids to victimize and probably driving red Jeeps. Absolutely. These are people that don't have to get up off their ass. They know how to catfish. They sextort. They know how to manipulate people into doing their bidding. You don't believe me? Go look into the Darren Schillmiller case. Go look into the Keegan Klein case. Yeah, dozens of victims. Absolutely, Mustang. Well, I hope you feel better, Anna. Don't let it get you too down. I know it's got to be frustrating. Yes, she does. All right. So some of this is going to get repetitive. 4 men with alleged connections to a neo-Nazi organization are facing charges after targeting children and coercing them into producing pornography and then harming themselves, according to the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Central District of California. Investigators arrested Colin John Thomas Walker, a 23-year-old from New Jersey, Clint Jordan Lapaka Nahukaki Borgi, 41-year-old from Pahoa, Hawaii, Thursday morning on charges of engaging in sexual exploitation enterprise, which prosecutors say was carried out in connection with a neo-Nazi organization. The group targeted at least 16 children, including 2 in California, San Bernardino County, according to prosecutors. They now face federal charges alongside 2 others, Rowan Sandeep Rain, a 28-year-old from Antibes, France, and Caleb Christopher Merritt, a 24-year-old from Texas. See, none of these guys even know each other personally. Rain has been in French custody. French, remember? Yubo. Doug Carter going to France. Custody since 2022 on charges of child exploitation and other related crimes, while Merritt is serving a 50-year sentence in Virginia for child sex abuse crimes committed in 2020 and 2021. What they're referring to is Merritt stalked a girl in Virginia, drove all the way out there. He sextorted her, cyber stalked her. Then he went and camped behind her home and then kidnapped her. You telling me that's not terrifying? Imagine somebody camping right outside your home right now, targeting your family. How would you know? All 4 suspects are named in an indictment filed on January 17 and unsealed Thursday. Thank goodness we have it. We read part of it. The men are members of the internet neo-Nazi group called CULT, CVLT, an organization dedicated to the online child exploitation. Prosecutors allege in the indictment the group names neo-Nazism, nihilism, and pedophilia as their core principles. Rain, Walker, and Merritt acted as leaders and administrators for the group with the goal of creating an army of sadist followers. Prosecutors say the group works to coerce children into creating pornography through various means of degradation, including the extremist and violent content, according to prosecutors. So we have when it comes to the Delphi murders, we have a man committing a murder and we have no idea why he's doing it. He also has a phone, and during the geofencing, his actual phone is nowhere to be found. What is he doing with this device? He's obviously using it while he's on the trails. What is he preparing? Is he taking video? And if he's a sex addict, why did they not find any pornography or anything strange on his devices? Because he's smarter than that. He's smarter than you guys give him credit for. And that's why he got away as long as he did. He's not as smart as he thinks he is, but he's definitely smarter than you think he is. The group coerced children into increasingly dehumanizing acts, which included punching themselves, drinking their own urine, using razor blades to carve cult members' names into their skin. The children said they would tell their parents or the police or hesitated in any way, cult members would blackmail them by threatening to release explicit photos of them to their family and friends, according to prosecutors. The organization even carried out these threats against some of the children who escaped, they added. So it all starts with the Keegan Klein method. The Emily Ann and the Anthony Shots technique. So Emily Ann comes into the social media platform like Discord, Roblox, Snapchat, Facebook, Instagram, whatever it is. You know, I'm a 13-year-old girl. Hey, let's become best friends. And they play the slow game, but they're playing it in vast numbers, 50, even more a day. And they're slowly gaining their trust. And throughout this process of befriending them and acting like a 13-year-old, they're kind of talking about their older brother or their father and how great they are. Like, yeah, I really enjoy, my father, he's the best, or my brother, Keegan Klein, or my brother, Anthony Shots. Like, if you're into older guys, I can introduce you. He's a great guy. Oh, you think he would like me? Yeah, just go ahead and friend him or send him a message. And then they move from the Emily Ann and go right into their Anthony Shots account. And then once they go into the Anthony Shots account and they trusted the Emily Ann account, now they totally believe that this is a legitimate person. So now they're enamored with it. All the attention, this good-looking, successful guy. I can't believe it. He really likes me. And then they convince him into sending sexual material. Once they have that sexual material, it is over, because that's when the blackmail starts. That's all they need to gain total control, is one lewd act. Cult specifically targeted vulnerable victims, including ones suffering from mental health challenges or a history of sexual abuse, the U.S. Attorney's Office said in a statement. CVLT, or cult members' coercion, escalated to pressuring victims to take their own lives on live streams. That's extremely disturbing. The organization allegedly operated in Los Angeles and San Bernardino County. The defendants here are alleged to have committed horrific acts against children. Acting U.S. Attorney Joseph McNally said in a statement, "There is nothing more important than protecting our youth." Shocking. Yeah, I appreciate it, Lilith. What do you mean, Lynn? Antibes, France, pronounced Antibes. Well, I don't speak French, so I'm not going to worry about it too much. Trying to date gorgeous Anthony Schatz, getting money from him. Well, it all starts with Emily Ann. It's a process. And they don't just learn this process overnight. It's all trial and error. Anna says, I've wondered if other kids around the girls' ages, maybe classmates, were procuring for Anthony Schatz. Maybe it seems somewhat innocent. That I don't know. Thank you, Sparky. Thanks for sharing the Cash App. If you guys want to support my channel, you can do so there. The Cash App, the Venmo. Thanks, Sparky. I appreciate it. We are crowdfunded, so every little bit helps. Big shout out to those of you who continue supporting. Thank you, guys. Wouldn't be here without you. Yeah, that's true, Anna. Maybe that was the purpose, right? Thank you, Sparky. I appreciate that. You can also support through Zelle. Cyber Warrior, I was actually essayed by a babysitter when I was 8 years old. Jeez, I'm sorry to hear that. I don't like to talk about it. Well, you're very brave for mentioning it. Hey, D-Mart. We'll have to watch replays later. Don't want to miss this important info. It's pretty disturbing so far. Yeah, I'm pretty open-minded, Anna. Pretty open-minded. And I don't put anything past anybody. But things like this still shock me. Like cutting yourself and things like that. Like, wow. I just don't know what I would do. I don't know what I would do if, something like that happened. Oh, got you, Lynn. Carter was on vacation with other couples in France. He got the phone call on vacation saying they may have an arrest in a few days. Thank you, Sparky. Thank you for all your hard work. You are a great moderator. Yeah, I listened to it, but I should probably go listen to it in its entirety. Yeah, that's true. Remember with Epstein, some girls were paid to bring recruits. I think it was Palm Beach area, high school group. Yeah, that's true. Like, hey, you want to make $200? What do you mean, Italy? Yubo was created in France by 2 French students. So I don't know if you're talking to Lynn about the vacation or me. Okay, let's continue on here. Okay, we watched that. We watched that. Oh, here's another one.
The leader of an alleged Eastern European-based neo-Nazi group has been arrested and charged with soliciting hate crimes and acts of mass violence in New York City. The Justice Department says 20-year-old Mikhail Chikvishvili is a Georgian national suspected of being the leader of a group called Maniacs Murder Cult, an international racially or ethnically motivated violent extremist group that adheres to a neo-Nazi ideology and promotes violence and violent acts.
Christine says, how did they know that it was filmed? I'm sure they did a digital forensic analysis. But the problem that I have with this is that they've been investigating a lot of these folks. Like, you're going to see one story of what the hell's his name? Merritt, Caleb Christopher Merritt. So they were investigating him for years, and they didn't do anything until he started talking about guns and stuff like that, and then they felt the obligation. I just don't understand why they don't act quicker.
Against racial minorities, the Jewish community, and other groups it deems undesirables. Chikvishvili is accused of planning a New Year's Eve attack involving a Santa Claus, dressing up and handing out poisonous candy to Jewish and minority children in New York. Prosecutors say Chikvishvili was arrested on July 6 in Moldova while trying to recruit an undercover law enforcement employee who was pretending to be a recruit for the maniac's murder cult. They say Chikvishvili also created a manifesto titled The Hater's Handbook and distributed it to the group's members, in which he encouraged and instructed ways to commit acts of mass violence and ethnic cleansing. For example, the handbook contained ways in which to commit school shootings and terror attacks within the United States. U.S. Attorney Peace said in a statement, his goal was to spread hatred, fear, and destruction by encouraging bombings, arson, and even poisoning children for the purpose of harming racial minorities, the Jewish community, and homeless individuals. We will not hesitate to find and prosecute those who threaten the safety and freedoms of all members of our community, including members of minority communities, no matter where in the world these criminals might be hiding.
Let's go to Anna's comment here. It says, if the Delphi crime scene was photographed and investigators know that as a fact, I don't think they know it as a fact. And just think about it this way. If you go into a crime scene with a phone that isn't connected to any network, it's not even activated, it's just a phone, you're basically using it as a digital camera, right? You commit a murder, or let's say you don't even commit a murder, you just walk down into the woods and you take a video. How is anybody going to know that you have a video if you take that camera and you sell it to somebody? How is anybody going to know what you did? I mean, law enforcement, they're not psychic. There's no digital footprint. It's no different than taking a digital camera and taking a video or photographs. There's no way to track it. Now, it's different if you upload it on your own computer, or if you take it and you access the internet and then you upload it on your own phone. Yeah, but there's other ways to do it without being traced. And I have a feeling that could be what they were selling in Las Vegas, is that phone, that device with the video on it. Okay, so before his recent arrest, hold on, I don't think I have that article. I don't want to register on this. Give me a minute. So some of you guys might remember this story. We did a hour live stream on it. Sure you guys remember some of these images. That the zodiac is connected to the order of 9 angles. Let's go ahead and zoom in on this. So, an inside look at a satanic neo-Nazi pedophile cult that ensnared city man arrested on gun charges. A satanic pedophile cult uncovered by the FBI after the arrest of a Queens man 2 years ago is an offshoot of a much older neo-Nazi organization that wants to destroy Western civilization, according to the overseas nonprofit that's been tracking the hate group. Federal authorities stumbled upon the newer group which is named 764, but goes by a number of aliases while investigating Angel Almeida, a 23-year-old convicted felon from Queens who was busted with a gun in November 2021. The loosely organized commune of creeps appears to be intensely interested in targeting kids on the internet, then threatening, intimidating, or blackmailing them into recording acts of self-mutilation, animal abuse, sex acts, and even their own S-word, taking their own lives, according to an FBI warning issued earlier this month. But sources told The Guardian that 764 is an outgrowth of an older, larger organization known as the Order of Nine Angles, which the Institute of Strategic Dialogue, ISD, called the decentralized satanic neo-Nazi organization bent on the overthrow of Western governments. The group, commonly referred to as O9A, believes that West's Judeo-Christian heritage corrupts modern society. According to the ISD, an independent nonprofit human rights organization based in London. So here's some of the photographs. It says here, the O9A was established in the early 1970s by British neo-Nazi activist David Myatt. It went through a brief lull in the 1990s and early 2000s before becoming active on social media in 2008. Wyatt, writing under a pseudonym Anton Long, he's also wrote a few books too. Excuse me. Developed the system of teaching, training, and initiations that now define the O9A. So this is an actual pact with the devil. A covenant. It says here, a covenant signed in blood. May the devil walk with you always. Satanic manibus. So you have some blood smeared here, and then all over what appears to be the Zodiac killer. Look at this freak. Crazy. As such, it wants to replace the current order with the new imperial order based on fascism, social Darwinism, and Satanism, the Institute wrote. O9A followers are encouraged to commit random acts of extreme violence, sexual assaults, and the culling of human victims to accelerate the breakdown of the current Judeo-Christian Western system, the ISD said, adding that the group's ideology has become more influential among neo-Nazi circles in recent years. All right, let's go take a look at their website real quick. This is the Order of Nine Angels website. Happy International Day of Slayer? What the fuck? Yeah, look at this. O9A endorses Biden-Harris 2024 campaign. Of course they do. Of course they do. So it's basically www.09a.org. Let me go back up here to the top, to the index here. Let's see. The 09A way, the insidious way, the Hebdomadian way, Sekuntra Nexian, Oracles of the Abyss. Like, what is all this shit? Calendars and oral traditions. It's a bunch of satanic shit. So I think this will be our last article, and then we have maybe one or two more quick little videos to watch, and then we'll open up the discussion. This article is from Com Network by Marc-Andre Argentino. Hammers in the Dark, the second manifesto of the Maniacs Murder Cult under Commander Butcher, Part 2. Yeah, it's a good idea, Sparky. Yeah, this is beyond scary. I don't care what anybody says. This shit is terrifying. I mean, just to think like how somebody gets in a position where they're sitting in front of their computer and they want to do this. Remember, psychopaths and sadists, they're all looking for a way to get close to their victim without getting caught. And unfortunately, the internet gives them a pretty easy pathway or a vehicle to do that. Hey, Mustang, I feel like members' lives for the reason there is no worries about trolls. Yep. We don't have to worry about anything during that. Yep, terrorist, absolutely. So they're not only trying to target children, they're teaching people how to conduct school shootings, make a car bomb, explosives, how to plan a mass casualty event, targeting minorities and the Jewish community specifically. Hey, Frederica, how are you? Translation for manibus from Latin is to the spirits of the dead. Thanks, Anna. I think they're just racist because that's part of hate. Anything that has to do with hatred and destruction, chaos, anything negative, that's what they're for. And they're not all white. We're talking neo-Nazis they're not all white people, which is very strange. They're more united in their Satanism than anything. Hey, Sparky, thank you for the super sticker. I appreciate that. Ha, D-Mart, no surprise for endorsement. I wasn't surprised at all. I mean, it makes total sense to me. Some people say, oh, well, I thought they were far right. Well, I think you're starting to figure it out. Evil is evil. No matter what we call it. or how we try to categorize it. They don't categorize it that way. If it's evil and wicked, they're all for it. Hey, yeah, winter's starting to leave us here. Not that we really get any kind of winter like you guys do in the Midwest, but if you watch the sun, you can see that the seasons are changing. So it should start to warm up pretty soon. That's not an improvement, Anna. It's not. It really isn't. It makes it worse. That's only going to help with their numbers. Hatred is in the heart, not in the skin color. Yep, Stephanie, it's almost springtime. Okay, so this was put out December 20th of last year, a couple months ago. Hammers in the Dark, the second manifesto of the Maniacs Murder Cult. So the Order of Nine Angles, 764, and the Maniac Murder Cult, they're all connected. They're all part of the same enterprise, this cult enterprise. Okay, in the first installment, introduced readers to MKY's grim worldview, its comforting blend of nihilism, accelerationism, and a desire to see the world's scaffolding collapse. This second foray guides us deeper into the group's ideological catacombs. Now our spotlight falls upon a figure known as Commander Butcher. So if you guys want to go down a rabbit hole, go type that in, Commander Butcher and the Murder Maniacs Cult. A Georgian national by the name of Michael Chikvishvili, whose December 2023 arrest cut short a New Year's Eve plan that might best be described as holiday cheer with a lethal aftertaste. So that's the story we just heard about him trying to poison innocent people, minorities, and people who are part of the Jewish community there. Yep, absolutely. Also, you'll probably see some weeds popping up in some areas. That's usually a good indicator too. For those of you who aren't still covered in snow. In November 2023, Commander Butcher outlined a scheme that involved dressing up as a would-be perpetrator in Santa Claus attire and distributing poison-laced candy to minorities and Jewish school children in Brooklyn. This was terror and a festive wrapper. Misanthropy given seasonal flair. He offered how-to guides on mixing lethal gases and maximizing casualty counts, suggesting that for some, nothing says new beginnings like chemical warfare. Today, we examine 3 editions of the Hater's Handbook. And I couldn't get my hands on this. I couldn't find it without purchasing it. It's called the Hater's Handbook. Commander Butcher's expansions of MKY's original manifesto sets. These documents knit together a tapestry of ideological references, a dash of National Socialism, a pinch of satanic influence, a nod to ISIS-inspired tactics, and a flourish of Order of Nine Angles aesthetics. The result is a kind of extremist fusion cuisine, serving up instructions of infiltration, deception, psychological manipulation, and tailored violence. Their underlying goal? To sharpen societal fractures, introduce chaos into stable systems, and turn would-be armchair malcontents into active foot soldiers of ruin. So they want to weaponize the Keegan Kleins of the world, the throwaways, the Brian Kobergers, the self-described incels and losers and pedophiles. Unlike the Krasnov era materials, already quite the dystopian self-help guides, Butcher's versions double down on practical skills. They go beyond stabbing tips and into territory of digital, biological, and infrastructural sabotage. These newer texts maintain the original's unblinking hatred, but elevate it into a fully operational doctrine. Their approach is methodical. Infiltrate targets, exploit vulnerabilities, and document the carnage to amplify the terror's echo. These manifestos offer more than a study in depravity. They're a field guide to an evolving extremist ethos. Reading them is akin to picking through the ashes of a still, smoldering fire, piecing together its fuel source, ignition method, and intended path of destruction. The MKY under Commander Butcher isn't just advocating violence, it's curating it, refining it, and preparing its adherents to deliver it with surgical precision. Overview of the selected manifestos. Each edition attributed to Commander Butcher's follows a similar narrative, ideological affirmations, operational directives, propaganda strategies, but with incremental refinements. Furthermore, each edition takes a similar form, chapters outlining ideological positions, instructions for violence, tools for infiltration, and methods of propaganda. Yet the incremental refinements and expansions in each iteration. So this is going to kind of outline the Hater's Handbook. Introduces the fusion of National Socialism and Satanism. Yeah, which party supports National Socialism? Hopefully it's making sense to some of you now. Draws on ISIS and other jihadist tactics as a template for infiltration and psychological warfare. Emphasizes combining two dark forces, NS and Satanism, to inspire unlimited ruthlessness. Do you guys know what NS is? Is that nihilism? I don't know what that is. NS. To inspire unlimited ruthlessness. Highlights MKY role models, Igor Maniac, foreign fighters, historical terrorist, and inspiration for readers. Hater's Handbook 2nd edition expanded. Reiterates the same chapters as the 1st edition, but adds practical tips for funding activists through crime, carding, drug dealing. Encourages infiltration of enemy movements like Black Lives Matter, jihadist groups, to weaponize them against governments and each other. Provides operational security measures, cover stories, changing clothes, scent masking, and strategic weapon selection. Underscores the importance of propaganda dissemination and filming attacks to maximize fear and resonance. So there's that word again. Filming. Propaganda, dissemination, and filming attacks. So I think you guys get the point.
Yeah. Yeah, bring this one down. You got anything on you shouldn't have? Right.
What's up, Anthony?
The only risk I was concerned about is if she went through with it and I got caught.
So you're concerned about, the only thing you're concerned about is if she went through with it and you got caught. Not about whether she was dead or not.
I don't think about stuff in that moment. It's just stupid I say without thinking.
So we were aware that Cameron Finnegan joined the group 764 in the late stages of 2023. And then from a law enforcement perspective, we became aware of him early 2024, which led to his arrest in March 2024. And at that time, that was because we were aware of his online footprint and some of the claims that he had made around firearms and having access to firearms, which meant that in terms of public safety, we had to intervene straight away. As he was in custody and we started to look through his digital devices, we then became aware of certain things on those devices. And as we've detailed before in the press briefing, that involved a PDF document that gave instructional material around how to carry out a vehicle attack, as well as a knife attack resulting in mass casualties, along with the fact that he was engaging with vulnerable victims online and was encouraging them to commit suicide, as well as also having access to child abuse material, which was since charged as category
Worldwide.
A. And also he had filmed himself carrying out a number of criminal damage. For example, he had...
So this guy is part of the 764 group. He doesn't even live in the United States, and he's part of a group that was started by a 15-year-old boy online out of Texas.
Knifed a word onto a victim's car based in Horsham. He had also identified a tent that belonged to a homeless individual nearby where he lived, where there were also graffiti marks around that, and he had also talked about harming that individual. So for us, from a policing perspective, it meant that we had to intervene straight away in order to mitigate the threat that he posed. The 764, we know, are a global group. Their reach is global, so they're impacting on a number of international communities, predominantly based on online. They appear to have a mixed ideology, which means that they don't necessarily cross over into terrorism. It's more about the individual themselves. But certainly what they do is they look to blackmail, threaten vulnerable victims, encourage them to commit suicide, and then post it online. And then they will claim it as the group for 764. And Cameron Finnegan was certainly one of those members. And when you look at the offences that he was charged with and pleaded guilty to, that certainly illustrates part of their methodology. He also had a number of items within his digital footprint that was kind of elements of racism and bits. So quite often the group is linked to extreme right wing as well. There are a number of factions. They are known to be very closely aligned to the Order of the Nine Angles, and also a Ukrainian/Russian group. But this is what is so complex about this group. Not only the fact that it's got the global footprint, the fact that they're targeting vulnerable individuals, but just also the fact that there is no clear ideology there. So it is actually a whole law enforcement issue. Not only in this case, obviously, we've got the terrorism element, but there is also the public protection and safeguarding issues. And that is why we are highlighting the group to the public and yourselves, because for us, this is a whole society approach. And my plea is that if you're aware of anyone who is looking at extremist content, or you think is engaging with these types of groups, no matter if it is any type of extremist group, then please do contact us. And you can do that through the ACT campaign. And their website is www.gov.uk/ACT. If you go onto the website, there's a lot of really useful material, as well as if you see or you come across any kind of online extremist page, then you can also report that on there, and we will endeavour to contact the tech company to get that taken down. But you can also contact them just on the phone.
So these groups are worldwide. And when somebody threatens to turn them in or report them to the FBI, they go onto the dark web and they'll put a hit out on them. And in some cases, it's been followed through on. This is no joke, guys. This is not some kind of myth. This is actually happening. A lot of these unsolved murders that we cover, I think these groups could be responsible for it.
Exposing an online neo-Nazi child pornography ring.
Police say her tip spurred an international investigation that spanned 4 years. I talked with a ISU police officer who unraveled this entire case. It's a wild story. We want to warn you the details are disturbing and not suitable for children in the room.
I've been in awe of her since the beginning. She was being blackmailed and had the strength and bravery to come forward and say this is not okay.
Iowa State University police officer Cami Feld says a tip from an Iowa State student in 2020 spurred a 4-year investigation revealing a shocking and sinister online cult that preyed on children. The ISU student told police she was being blackmailed by a man she met on a social media app when she was a minor.
She shared with us certain details. We were able to unravel a bigger story.
The bigger story turned into the arrests of 4 men worldwide. The Department of Justice charged 23-year-old Colin Walker of New Jersey, 24-year-old Caleb Merritt of Texas, 28-year-old Rowan Rain of France, and 41-year-old Clint Borge of Hawaii. An unsealed federal indictment says the men were part of an online group that followed neo-Nazism and pedophilia as its core principles. Police told us the cult-like group called themselves the CVLT. Members are accused of enticing and coercing children to produce sadistic child pornography. The horrifying details revealed in the indictment say children were groomed and degraded to perform dehumanizing acts and then blackmailed if they tried to stop or tell their parents.
Gross, but also
Gross.
horrific, and it just made me that much more motivated to try and get to the bottom of this, because it became clear
Me
very
too,
early
Susie,
on
or
that
Sparky.
there
Me
was
too.
many victims.
Feld broke the case wide open when she noticed a fake address when reviewing a mountain of evidence from subpoenas. Years of combing through data, online banking records, and IP addresses led her to a suspect, Clint Borge, in Hawaii. Feld snapped this picture in August of 2021 after she flew there with federal agents to interview Borge.
I asked him about
She's a
his computer
badass.
training, and he initially said, "What do you mean?" And I said, "Well, you're very tech savvy. Are you self-taught? Did you take some courses? How did you become to be so tech savvy?" And he just bowed his head and said, "Obviously not tech savvy enough. Otherwise you wouldn't be here." And that's when you know you're getting somewhere.
Feld's police
Got
work
your
was
ass.
crucial for Homeland Security investigators who identified at least 30 victims. But none of this would be possible without the Iowa State student who came forward first.
She was
See, now, if this student, I guarantee they tried to put a hit out on this student as soon as they found out that she was trying to turn them in. Because some folks, they'll get charged, they'll make bond, and then they'll go right onto the dark web and put the hit out. And in some cases, the witnesses were actually murdered. You know, it makes you wonder about some of these crimes that happen to these young people.
grateful and relieved, and I feel so fortunate to be able to have brought her to that.
All right, guys. I think that's everything that I have. We'll spend here maybe another 5-10 minutes discussing what we went over. But that's pretty much everything I had for you guys. Children creating CSAM. I always theorized if ultra lazy KK stumbled upon the Delphi crime scene, he would have said, all right, a free snuff film without all the work. Exactly. That's what they're creating. You know, they don't need some production company and some victim to come into some studio with this elaborate setup. This is how it really happens. Through the Emily Ann strategy and through blackmail and then targeting. You got it, Mustang. You got it, Miranda. Let's go. There was another part of the story that I wanted to you that Caleb Merritt had this. One of his earlier charges. It was really disturbing. He went to prison for this and was charged recently with these other crimes. let's see if I can find some older story. Yeah, I definitely think parents need to be aware that this is going on, because there might be, you might see a change in your child's behavior. I know some people, they or others to relieve stress, but they can be going like this. Sextortion. Whoops. I don't know what the hell that was. Okay, here it is. No, that's not it. Thought somebody was trying to hack my system there for a second. All right, so here's Caleb Merritt again. So this is what he was originally charged with, and then there was a witness that came forward, and then he recently was charged with more crimes, and he was mentioned in the affidavit. Texas man had campsite in woods behind Virginia girl's home, deputies say. Man traveled to Virginia after connecting with child on social media in December. This is back in oh wow. February, look at that date. February 13th, 2021. Yikes. February 13th. The Texas man accused of abducting a 12-year-old Virginia girl that prompted an Amber Alert had set up camp behind the child's home, according to deputies. Officials with Henry County Sheriff's Office said Allie Michelle Broadway, who was reported missing from her Bassett home Friday afternoon, was found with 21-year-old Caleb Christopher Merritt Saturday near a restaurant in Henderson, North Carolina. And Caleb is from a place called Spring, Texas, and he would be 24 today. Let's see. Was found with 21-year-old Caleb Christopher Merritt Saturday near a restaurant in Henderson, North Carolina. Broadway was found safe and checked by EMS for minor injuries, deputies said. Allie is a runaway. Our investigators are down there on the way now, as well as federal investigators. Henry County Sheriff Lane Perry said she will be spoken to. We will be asking her about what happened. We will be processing the vehicle that was used in conjunction with this crime, and our investigators will return Allie to her family. Officials said Merritt was taken into custody by Henderson police, but have not said what charges he is facing. Suspect met the girl on Instagram. Deputy said the Spring, Texas man connected with the 12-year-old via Instagram in December. They communicated via social media until Merritt traveled to Virginia in early February of 2021 to meet with Broadway, deputy said. Investigators discovered a camp in the woods behind the family's home where Merritt met the girl on several occasions, according to officials with the sheriff's office. Deputies say the suspect chatted with the girl and gave her instructions via a messaging app. Merritt coerced Broadway to leave her home, and he subsequently picked her up, deputies said. Officials said they received a tip that led them to believe Merritt was in Henderson, where the pair were located. We actually don't want to go into what the tip was, Perry said, but we did have a lead. He came in, and he gave us some electronic information to begin following. Must be a CI. Deputies thanked the FBI and the Henderson Police Department for their help in the case. There was a predator in our area. Perry asked parents to have conversations with their children about the dangers they face online. The electronic world can introduce very dangerous people to your home that you have no idea. Perry said, don't just take your child's word that they're not doing things they're not supposed to. Talk to them. Check the devices. Use the authority that you have. Perry called the abduction case proof positive that there was a predator in our area. And this is before they knew that he was part of the 674 group. He was preying on young women, stayed in our area for a few days, Perry said, but did not elaborate when asked about other possible victims. There's been a lot of communication is taking place, and we will unravel this, Perry said. The people who specialize in what you kind of can call electronic footprints and fingerprints and where they lead. But Perry did say Merritt had been in communication with people in the area, likely via what the sheriff called chat rooms. So he was probably not just targeting this young girl. He's like, if I'm going all the way to Virginia, I'm going to make sure, I'm getting one of these victims. So they're going to cast a broader net. Do not take images of yourself, Perry urged. Be careful. And in these instances, the person you start talking to is generally not the person that is dangerous to you. The situations can change, and this is proof positive. It's terrifying. Yeah, I don't know what the hell happened. My computer system started glitching or something. It was weird. It's never really done that before. Absolutely. DMART. Kids are easier to monitor when young, and they tell things. Worrisome when they hit preteen and teen years and become more private, controlling folks. Well, yeah, I blame that on puberty. Feeling like you can't talk to anybody, trying to understand what's going on with your changes, because you're stuck. You're not an adult and you're not a child anymore. So it's like purgatory. You're in this really confusing period in time, and these guys, these pedophiles who are attracted to that, they also know that you're easily manipulated during that period of your life, especially if you're autistic or something like that. I agree, Anthony. Yeah, it sucks, but it has to be done. Yeah, it was weird, Anthony. That's what it felt like. It felt like somebody was trying to attack my system. I'm definitely going to shut off my computer after this and restart it. It wouldn't be the first time I was hacked on a live. Yeah, it was shocking. All right, guys, that's going to do it for today's live stream. I did monetize this live stream, but I guarantee they're going to remove the monetization just because of the topic. So if you guys want to support the channel, you can do so through liking and sharing the videos. You maybe consider becoming a member. I think it's a $4.99 fee, or you can even upgrade that if you want to. You can donate to the Cash App, to the Venmo, to the Zelle, whatever you guys prefer. If you guys would like to support me through purchasing merch, there's all free shipping. We have hats, shirts, hoodies, and things like that. And also, if you know anybody that's in the Phoenix metropolitan area and is interested in joining me as a guest on the podcast, let me know. Maybe we can get them booked on here. But you guys enjoy the rest of your night. I may be going live a little bit later. I'm going to eat some dinner. I'm going to check in with the family. And it is Friday night, so we might do a open panel. We'll see how it goes. But you guys enjoy the rest of your night either way. And thanks for hanging out. Replay crew, you know what to do. Leave a comment. Let me know what you thought about today's live stream. Take care. Thank you for tuning in to the Sleuth Intuition channel. I hope you enjoyed the broadcast. If you're in the Phoenix metropolitan area and you're interested in being a guest here on the Sleuth Intuition channel, please give me a call here at this number or shoot me an email there. I look forward to hearing back from you. Have a great day.